It has been 35 plus years since Ric Flair was in his prime as the NWA World's Traveling Champion, a top draw in the world of professional wrestling, at least according to the Peacock Network, which has touted that the Ric Flair's Woo! Becoming Ric Flair documentary has quickly become the highest viewed piece of content on the entire network. Ric Flair blowing the fuck up had like 1 million plus views on its first day that it dropped, trumping anything that AEW does in the ratings and comparable to the kind of ratings that the WWE does themselves. Ric Flair being a guy that has been out of his prime for so long, he hasn't even been in a ring since WrestleMania 24, at least for WWE. Of course, he was just in the ring, last year for his last match. But, it's been 24 years since he's wrestled on national TV for the WWE. Of course, we don't count TNA. That doesn't count. So, did I say 24 years since WrestleMania 24? How long has that been? It's been over 10. It's been like 15 years. It's a long-ass time to be off TV and to still be a top draw, but don't take my word for it. Check out this clip of the Nature Boy and Conrad Thompson on To Be the Man.
Right now, I'm focused on the fact that 2 hours of Flair is worth more than 2 hours of live TV.
You know what? Let's actually talk about that, because I know you got the inside scoop, and I think our graphic extraordinaire, our third man on the show today, Dave Silva, who's
that's gonna get some bad vibes.
Hey, let's talk about it. If you're not going to promote yourself, who is? I think Dave's got a graphic for us. This is directly from WWE. WWE content on Peacock was taken over by Ric Flair during the holidays. Over 70% of all content viewed included Ric. Woo, becoming Ric Flair, is quickly becoming the most watched WWE original hour on Peacock. Woo, becoming Ric Flair, is on track to beat WWE Evil as the #1 documentary on Peacock, and it has an 88% audience score on Rotten Tomatoes. It's remarkable. Listen, when people think, oh, well, that's it, this is his swan song, we'll never hear from Ric again. Here you go. Man, the gift keeps on giving.
It's heat, though.
But you love it. Come on now.
Oh, no, I know. I'm just saying that that's like over 1 million views of the first day.
I'm sure.
If you it could be like a minuscule, a very, very minuscule raw rating, and for sure an AEW rating.
It's amazing the run that Ric Flair is on right now, just as an iconic personality. I think his stock is as high, if not higher, than it ever was, really. And that's not hyperbole. When he was running on top of the NWA, that was territorial, that was regional, that was a southern thing. Historically, when he came up to WWE the first time, he was not the draw that people thought he might be, because people up in New York didn't know Ric Flair or didn't care about Ric Flair because he wasn't on their TV regularly. Whether they knew of him from the magazines or not, it just wasn't as big of a deal as it probably should have been at that time. And that's why they didn't do the Hulk Hogan Ric Flair main event at WrestleMania, because Ric Flair wasn't really drawing that big of house shows when he was working with Hulk around the loop on some of those house shows. So Ric Flair is arguably a bigger name now than he ever was when he was in wrestling. And you look at things like the Ric Flair drip, his integration into hip hop culture with the rappers and stuff. He's huge in the rap community, and all he's got to do is just woo woo woo. He's hanging out with Mike Tyson now, doing the weed gimmick and stuff. He's got his woo wings. This man is on fire. He is branding himself as a personality, and this documentary shows it. And then all the celebrities that got involved with that documentary as well, commenting on it. Ric Flair seems to be at the forefront of pop culture. He's on the tip of everybody's tongue still to this day. And this is despite, you know, a lot of the beefs that Rick's been in and some of the ways that his mouth has gotten him into some troubles as of late, you know, Eric Bischoff and Jim Ross and that kind of thing. All of that aside, man, Ric Flair is a icon and a national treasure, and it just doesn't seem to be going away. Even after this man passes, his image is gonna be iconic. It's gonna live on. It's gonna be legendary for a guy like Ric Flair. And this is funny. I kind of jumped into the comments a little bit on the Ric Flair drip music video, just kind of see what the hip hop community was saying about Rick. It's insane how well Ric Flair fits in with this. You would think that an old ass white dude, fucking pro wrestler from the 80s, wouldn't fit into the hip hop culture, but he does like a glove. It's the bling bling culture, right? It's the drip, it's the swag. It's Ric Flair has been doing that shit since the 80s. Hip hop culture has bit that from Ric Flair. They're trying to live up to Ric Flair's standards. You know, there's a scene in the video where they're all putting their watches out together, a couple rappers and Ric Flair. And it's like, that's not Ric Flair trying to pretend to be a rapper guy or fit in with the rapper kids. These guys are, that's Ric Flair shit putting out the watch. It's Horseman stuff, right? Show those watches. This is, you know what I mean? Ric Flair is a big time icon in professional wrestling. And at this point, an even bigger icon, a bigger celebrity in the pop culture, in the zeitgeist of Americana. It really is. And this documentary is proof of that. Just the fact that it's blowing up. It's the highest rated thing on Peacock, at least for the WWE. You know, I don't know if it's outdoing like Black Mirror and stuff like that, but it's certainly the most watched thing wrestling related, which makes him the highest draw, or at least one of arguably the highest draws in professional wrestling, is he not? He's getting more eyeballs than the actual wrestlers themselves, and like he said in his clip, it's going to get him some heat perhaps, but it's true, and you can't take that away from the Nature Boy. He's doing fantastic. And he's built up such an image for himself. And you know what? Good for him. You know, as much as I'm critical of Rick's bitterness and the way that he, you know, gets insulted and offended by everything, and he's always kind of got something negative to say about somebody somewhere, you can't deny that the dude is killing it out there still to this day, keeping his brand alive and well, and keeping his name out there in pop culture and just being a fucking megastar. Ric Flair is the man, and I don't think it can be denied at this point. But what are your thoughts? That's about all I got to say on it. I won't keep you any longer. Let me know your thoughts down below, though. How do you see this whole thing? Why do you think Ric Flair is still such a major draw? Do you think it's just his integration with hip-hop culture and pop culture in general, and you know, having all these celebrity friends and that kind of thing? Or do you think it's just, well, I don't know what it is. So you let me know down in the comments below, and I'm going to go ahead and move on to the next. Woo! Hey, thanks for checking out that clip. Don't forget to check out other clips here on the channel. And while you're there, throw a like, throw a subscribe. And don't forget to check out full episodes each and every Sunday of the Pro Wrestling Podcast.